Hey, I'm Steve Diggs, and welcome back to Insights. Great content at the speed of light. Today, I want to talk to you about a concept that will help all of your conflicts going forward. Whether those are conflicts with your family, people at work, people that you socialize with, whatever. None of us really none of us really enjoy conflict. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure that most conflict is really healthy if we allow it just to go on and on and on. So here is a concept, here is a thought, here is an idea, if you will, a thought sparkler that might help you going forward. We've got to understand that the magic bullet of conflict resolution has to do with these things right here. Now, how does that play out and where are you going to? Well, the experts tell us that only 7% of all communication is done verbally. Now, we think that it's our speaking that makes all the difference. But in truth, the experts say, no, Nanette, that is not the case. In truth, only about 7% of our true communication is verbal. And maybe that's why God chose to do it this way. Maybe that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Maybe that's the ratio we ought to work at. Maybe do twice as much listening as we do speaking. I'm going to tell you a story about this little brass plaque, but to do that, let me kind of go back to the backstory here. Back in the late 1970s, my wife and I opened up what was at that time, a very small advertising agency on the world-famous Music Row here in Nashville. Things went well. We had a wonderful run at it. By the 1980s, we were winning all the awards. We owned our own office building. We had our own studio. We had all kinds of wonderful things going for us. Some of the greatest employees on the planet and also some of the best clients anybody could hope for. We, like every business out there, I suppose, had a room in the office building that we called our conference room. This is where we went to talk, to have conferences with people. Well, with that as our backstory, let me kind of bring you up to somewhere probably in the late 1980s. That was when I had communication with a company also in Nashville. This company wanted to talk to us about doing an advertising campaign. So I met with them, we went over everything, we signed the agreement, and everything looked good. It wasn't, though, very long before they contacted me and they said, Steve, we want you to bring your entire team over here and we want to show you through the entire operation. Well, I was young, I was arrogant, and I was stupid. And I thought to myself, Steve, you already know what these folks need. We don't need to do this. It'll cost a lot of money to bring the staff over. We don't need to do this. But I did agree because after all, that was about all I could do. So half-heartedly, a couple of days later, we loaded everybody up. We went over, we went through everything. And as soon as it was over, we came back to the office, we sat down and said, okay, now here's what we need to do. Boom, 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 get busy. And the weeks passed, 2 or 3, probably 4 weeks of hard work on this campaign. We had the campaign together. So I called the client up and I said, hey, we've got everything ready. Can we get together? So they came over, we went into our conference room, and with that began probably a 2-3 hour presentation. And I always love presentations because this is when we got to show folks the thoughts, the plans, the strategies, the layouts, the designs of our ad campaign. Well, I did it all. We presented everything to all of the principals of the company. And with that, I sort of leaned back and I said, so what do you think? And they looked at me and they said, we'll let you know. Okay. 2 or 3 days passed, had not heard back from them. So I called and I said, how are things going? Are we ready to start on the project? And their answer was a very simple and very short one. We're not going to start on the project, at least not with you. Whoa, where did that come from, I thought. And I asked, I said, listen, I'm not here to argue with you, but may I please come over? Help me understand what we did wrong. They said, come on over. I went to their office and I asked them, I said, how did we fail you? And they said, we'll tell you how you failed. You never listened to a thing we had to say. You already had your own mind made up. You knew what you were going to do. You never heard us. And you know something? They were exactly right. I apologized to them and came back to our office and I took down the brass conference room plaque and I put up a new one. The new one said, the listening room. And that stayed there until the day I sold the company. Why? Because I wanted our people, specifically I wanted me to get the point that communication really happens when we listen. Conflict only can be resolved when we listen to others. It makes all the difference in the world. Hey, I'm Steve Diggs. This has been Insights, where you always get a ton of where you always get a ton of content, I should say, at the speed of light. I'll catch you next time.